What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel, the place where we dissect all the juicy drama from your favorite reality TV shows. Today, we're deep diving into the latest episode of TLC's The Family Chantel. So get ready for a roller coaster of weird questions, relationship drama, of course, and some seriously questionable family dynamics. Let's just jump right in, shall we? So, right off the top, I gotta say that Pedro's mother and sister are as nasty as ever in their dislike for Chantal. I really don't understand why they treated this woman so badly from the very beginning. Like, Chantal literally upgraded Pedro's entire life, and these women are so ungrateful. He was still sending money back to the family. I think she was helping him send money back to the family once upon a time, and they still can't appreciate it. And I just find that to be sick, to be honest with you. Do you guys remember back in the day when they first appeared on 90 Day Fiance, when people were wondering if his sister Nicole was secretly like in love with him or something, if they were secretly married because of their very weird um creepy sibling relationship? Well, that doesn't stop. Okay, so first of all, while on the phone with Pedro, his mom and sister ask him, like, what Chantal looks like these days, because they say, oh, like typically women when they go through a divorce, they either lose a bunch of weight because they stop eating, or they get fat because they're eating too damn much. Where's Chantal in all of this? Is she fat yet? Like that type of thing. And I was like, that is just so gross, like, why do they want this woman to suffer so bad? It's really, really like sad to me, to be quite honest. I find them to be evil and immature. Um, and like the sister, she's gonna make a bunch of really like weird, creepy comments about like Chantal's body and whatnot and her ass. And we're gonna get into that later. Don't you worry. So Pedro also says that Chantal wants them to split their marital assets 50-50. And for some reason, these women think it's unfair. I'm like, are you kidding me? The amount of jobs that Chantal had to work to bring Pedro to the US, the way she changed his entire life by bringing him there and everything as well, she's entitled to 50%, if not more, just based on, all of that. Like, come on now. And so he ends up actually signing the agreement because he is afraid of how, like, holding out and battling in court would play out for him in his green card situation. He's like, it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and take the L here and allow her to have 50%. But I don't think that that is taking the L. That is being fair, because that is exactly what Chantal deserves at the very least, especially with the way he started treating her towards the end. And I do believe that he was cheating on her as well. So, I'm happy he didn't take the family's bad advice, but I don't like that he thinks that he's doing her a favor, if you guys know what I mean by that. Now, Chantal, she starts talking to like her sister and everything. By the way, at the very top of the episode, I almost thought she had a new man already, because they have her like in lingerie with this nice little negligee on, and she's like running the tub. She's putting like rose petals everywhere. She's like, baby, your bath is ready just the way you like it. And then in comes her sister Winter with their two dogs. I was like, y'all set me up, right? So she starts talking about how she thinks that Pedro intentionally refused to have kids throughout their 7-year marriage because he knew he wasn't going to be with her forever, and that she was just a means to an end. And it's easier to make a clean break from someone when you don't have kids with them. And, it broke my heart to watch her cry about that, because I do think she's telling the truth. I don't know how to say this, you guys, without like sounding offensive or anything like that, but I feel like women need to be really careful about importing men. Like men, I think like they know what they're getting into, because a lot of them are really, like, I'm sorry, but they could be really hideous, and they're going for like la creme de la creme of women. But then these women, they'll be going for men who are equal to them in looks. Like Chantal and Pedro are both equally attractive people, in my opinion. So when you're in that kind of field where you're like, I'm not trying to like, bat above my coverage in a foreign country or go for someone significantly younger, they are probably as sincere as I'm sincere. No, honey, that's not true. Like, these guys can be gigolos for a green card as well. You have to be careful. I had a friend who got played by a Dominican man as well. He tried to get a green card, but she actually got him deported eventually, and the marriage annulled. But that's a story for another day. So I am particularly like weary. But girls, please, please, please stop. Or if you're going to go international for a man, make sure he's from a country that has like a similar status to you, in my opinion. Like, myself as a Canadian living abroad in France, I would only really go for, other people with strong passports as well, but I digress. Maybe that's a bit much. You guys let me know in the comment section. I just don't want to end up like this, okay, you guys? So, one thing that was really funny to me was when Chantel said that she wanted Pedro to go ahead, pack up his things and leave. He deserves literally no money. He's lucky she's letting him keep 50%, and he should just go back to that country that he claims he only left for love. She's like, there ain't no love here, so why don't you go back? You should have no problem, since you were trying to claim that you only came here for me after all, right? I found that absolutely hilarious. I'm like, yeah, she kind of ate with that. But at the same time, in Pedro's defense, myself as someone who has like immigrated, I still call myself an expat though, because I'm only on like yearly visas for now. So until I get like a good residence permit or like a permanent residence, I'm going to call myself an expat. Okay. But myself as someone who expatriated to a different country, I get how once you've been living somewhere for a certain amount of time, and in their case, it's been almost a decade, Chantel. Like, yeah, even if you don't necessarily want to live there forever or whatever, you've already planted your roots. You're at a certain age, right? Like he's like in his early 30s and whatnot. He wants to start establishing things. He owned a house, like he works in real estate. He doesn't want to start over again at his age. So I can understand why, even if that was true, that he only left the DR because of his love for Chantel, even though I don't believe it's true. Why he would still refuse to go back there, just because he already found his bearings in the US. And it's like, your country changes a lot in about a decade as well. So maybe he would feel out of place there too if he were to go back, right? Now, one thing I do want to point out is that I feel like Chantel's family is still casually racist against Pedro and Dominican people in general. In particular, her mother. And I still remember, and it was, I love that they included this in the preview about like how they got here in their relationship and everything. Do you remember when Pedro and Chantel's brother got into this huge fight at that dinner table? And then like they like were scrapping it and everything. And then his mother had some tracks of Pedro's sister Nicole's weave and everything. And she was like, Pedro y Nicole son muy malos para mi familia. Like that type of stuff to me is just like the cat. Like she could be funny, but then she could be like casually racist. Like for example, she'd be like, ¿cómo es cómo te digo? Mi hijo y su trabajo? Like I feel like she knows better Spanish than she's letting on, and she purposely butchers it as part of her disrespect, right? Like, come on now. And then there's like another part where she's like, Pedro and needs to go back to his country, and she's purposely overly rolling these R's to, I don't know, drag Spanish, or I don't know what it is, because Spanish is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful language. So it's just I'm having a hard time. Maybe you guys in the comment section could better explain it to me. Like she really goes out of her way to butcher this beautiful language. So I will say though that I am 1,000% with her when it comes to saying that Pedro from the very beginning was only with Chantel as a means to an end. I know for Chantel, it's got to hurt to hear the whole family thought this the entire time. Meanwhile, she was working all these jobs to take care of her man, and everything, all for nothing, right? I hope she didn't feel stupid or anything like that, because at the end of the day, Chantel's a beautiful woman, like I said, and she's in amazing shape. She's a nice girl. She has so much ambition and such a bright future ahead of her. So I can see why she would have been shocked and blindsided that someone would use her for something. Like, why? Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like one of those other guys who goes, and gets a girl like a person like 30, 40 years younger than them and in much better shape than them, like, no, it's completely different. So I understand why that has to be extra hurtful for her. So now let's get into Pedro's low-key creepy sister, Nicole. So Nicole starts talking about, when Pedro got with Chantel, he was a virgin. Now that he's going to be divorced, he can experience other asses. I'm like, girl, why are you so worried about who your brother's banging? That is so gross. Like, ew. I like myself as a sister with two brothers. Like the thought of this, like, just disgusts me. I do not want to know. I do not give a crap. Like, what? And then she says, oh, Chantel's ass is like flat and watery. It's yucky. There are much better asses out there, and I can't wait for my brothers to experience them. Girl, this is why people think there's some incest between you and this guy. You're weird. These are inappropriate comments to be making about your brother. Like, I don't know what the hell is in the water over there, but it is not normal over here. No, it's just weird. And there's no reason to constantly be attacking Chantel. She's already going through so much with the heartbreak of this divorce and everything. So why like take it there asking, oh, is she fat now? Is she fat and ugly? Oh, her ass is so watery. Like what? It's so unnecessary and weird, to be honest. So now let's get into Pedro and Chantel wanting to sell the family home. They had only purchased it about 2 years ago, and honestly, right after they purchased it, all their marital problems hit the fan, so to speak. And obviously, that's devastating. But by the way, the fact that they could buy that house, a detached, big old house for $290 something, yo, with the way Canadian real estate is right now, that would cost a good 600 or something like that, over in Ottawa where I'm from. So it's crazy that would be under 300,000 in another place. So anyway, Pedro wanted to sell it on his own, but Chantel disagreed. Good for her. Like, what the F? Like, he would eat that commission on his own. Absolutely freaking not. And so they go to the real estate agent's office and they both dress up. I think they both dressed up for each other, to be honest with you. Chantel with her hot pink suit, Pedro with his like suit that was kind of dapper with the glasses and everything. So the agent kind of opens up like, hey, like you guys are getting divorced. And then they both go, no, we actually are already divorced. And then Pedro goes, thank God. What do you mean, thank God? Like, you don't have to be mean like that. I really don't like when people kick people when they're down. And then the agent starts talking about like, oh, I know you guys bought it for $292, but you guys could sell it for about $425, I believe it is. And the commission is going to be 6%. And so Pedro does his calculations. He says that's $25,000, which I don't know if it's accurate because when I did my calculations, I was like, I don't think that's accurate, but okay. And so he's like, yeah, but if I were the agent, we would be saving on those fees because, blah, blah, I would split the commission with Chantel. I'm like, you know what? This is so inappropriate. First of all, the thank God comment in front of this agent. And now you, after already agreeing to this arrangement in front of the agent being like, oh, I could have saved us so much money. I don't want to do this. Like, sorry, Pedro, it's too late. You guys already agreed to this. Shut up. Go have this conversation with Chantel afterwards. But in front of that other agent, totally, totally rude and inappropriate. Like this guy, I don't know. I really don't like his vibe, to be honest with you. I find him to be such a brash, like asshole, to be honest. And again, I'm glad that Chantel pushed for a neutral third party because I do not believe that Pedro would have split that commission with her. You know why? First of all, because I think he's a scammer. Second of all, it's because Chantel drained $60,000 from the joint bank account before she was ordered to turn over the rest to like an escrow handling their divorce. And so I think that Pedro would have taken that money, been like, I worked for it. She didn't work for it. This is my job. And by the way, it's going to offset. It's not even half of the 60,000 that she had taken from the joint account. So she gets nothing. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Chantel, shut it down. Keep it only on a neutral basis. And so voila, that is how the first episode ended. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about this. This is the final episode of the season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everything kind of wraps up now in their marriage. Again, I'm heartbroken for Chantel just watching her, watching her experience all of her dreams just crash before her eyes, dreams of like, a forever family and everything are just, not going to happen anymore with Pedro. They can always happen with someone else, but no longer with Pedro. And Pedro is the one that she wanted to have it with. Poor girl. And Pedro, I think he's cool because I don't think he was ever genuine with her. And that's just sad and creepy to me. It's scary to me that there are people who can play the long game with you for whatever it is that they want to get out of you. Anyway, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.